Thank you so much, Niyati, for coming online and taking your time out. It's a pleasure having you here, and people definitely would love to hear your story. Okay, for those people who don't know you, I know most of them would know you, my audience know you, but then too, can you give a bit of introduction about yourself, what you do, and what is your mission?
Sure, absolutely. So, first of all, thank you, Sharad, for having me on this show. It's a pleasure and an honor to be interviewed by a friend, especially, and then for a bigger audience. So, thank you so much for having me on your show. So, what do I do, and what's my mission? I am called Niyati Ansha, the sexuality educator and counselor. And what's my mission? My mission is basically to create bond between family members. And when I say family members, it's supposedly a couple, their parents, and then their children.
Okay.
And I specialize in the section of sex and sexuality because that is one area nobody is talking about or educating and empowering. So yes, my specialty lies there, but my bigger mission is to create bond between families.
Wonderful, Niyati. So that brings me to my first question. What made you to start this mission of helping couples and also sexuality, which is a taboo in our society? People don't talk about that. So I have two questions in my one question.
Okay. So what got me started was that when I was pregnant with my first child, the story has been told a million times, but I want to repeat it again because that's where the journey started.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pregnant with my first child. Now he's 16. And that time I had promised him when he was in my womb that no matter whether I'll be able to give you anything else or no, but I will definitely be the support that a child requires. I will be that parent who will have an open and an honest relationship with you. And that kind of took me into exploring what parenthood is all about, what today's generation is all about, how today's parents need to be with their children. It cannot be the same to what my parents was to me. So in that exploration, somewhere I had not stumbled upon anything about sex education. So this term itself was very new when I heard about it in my son's school. By the time he was already 6 years old. So it kind of surprised me and shocked me. Surprised me because I had not heard it or read it anywhere, and shocked me because I myself was touched, and I wouldn't call it molestation or assaulted, but I was touched as a young girl at the age of 9 or something, and I did not realize that something that had happened with me can happen with my children too. Somewhere maybe I had all dusted it off and put it under the carpet, and I was shocked that I did not talk to my child about being safe. So that kind of, picked it up, and I was like, how could I not?
Wow.
And that's where I went and I began my journey just to figure out that none of the other parents were talking.
Wow.
And while I was talking to parents about children and sex education, I also realized that these parents were not comfortable to talk about this topic, also because of their own sexual life.
Right.
Own bonding and the relationship with their partners. So till I don't go to the root cause of anything, I won't be able to educate or make any parent comfortable to talk about something that's not spoken anywhere. So I cannot do a band-aid job and just say, okay, talk about this, do like this or do like that. I have to make them comfortable. I have to break that taboo, and that's why sex and sexuality with the mission of creating bond, because that is going to make the family more stronger and open gates to communication. So, yeah, a little long, but very deep for me.
Beautiful. What a wonderful mission to have. So for the audience, she is living her mission right now. She has touched thousands and thousands of lives of parents and students across India. And she's spreading such a positive message about family bonding, sexuality, child abuse. She's doing a phenomenal job in this. Now, when you started, I'm sure that there would be a lot of challenges from your parents and family end. Were there any challenges when you started with this?
So, not my family, definitely not. There was no challenge about the topic that I had picked up. My husband was more than supportive, like, of course, you should do it if nobody is doing it. My kids were young. My son was young, and I was pregnant with my second kid when I started reading and researching about it. And she was very young when I did the certification course where I could call myself an educator and officially go out and teach. But I think my only challenge was that my daughter was just 1 year old when I began to teach and take workshops. So that was my only challenge, where I would leave her either with my husband or with my family, run to the workshop for about a couple of hours, come back running, because she's a young kid, and I've always lived nuclear, so I did not have that thing in me that I can leave my daughter for 3-4 hours and work and be on my own. So I was not in that space, but now I know you can do that. That's a completely different life now. That was a little challenge for me with 2 young kids at home and trying to be there for the parents. But for the topic as such, I did not have any kind of resistance from either side of the family. No.
Okay. And when you started off, did you had any thoughts in your mind? So now I'm actually coming into the topic of our conversation, wherein about other people judging you on this topic. How would the society take it? And because it's a taboo kind of subject in the so have you gone through that?
So the support was always there from the friends and family, which never allowed me to even. That thought also didn't come to my mind that this is a taboo topic and I am challenged with this. If somebody was not okay with it, it was always their problem, and I would see how I could break that taboo. Because my entire environment, which is close to me, was very supportive. So somewhere along the way, I did realize that this is a topic that can cause me trouble in my personal life and also in my career. And a lot of well-wishers also told me, Niyati, call yourself a parenting coach and not a sex educator, because people think differently when you say that. And I saw how differently people think and what kind of questions were coming to me in my inboxes all over social media. But it was a learning experience for me. It was like, oh, people are asking questions like these. Oh, people are asking questions like this. So it became my field work, actually. So I was even more determined to call myself a sex educator and see how this goes. But yes, the society did give me a tough time. But trust me, if my friends and family were not the way they are, I would have stopped this long time back.
Actually, that's something which I wanted to touch upon. And it's always, we are blessed to have some angels in our life who are always there to support us. Right?
Totally. In fact, the surprising part is, because my kids were young and I started talking about this topic, it's a very normal thing to do in my household setup. So it's not like we talk about sex and sexuality all the time and every dinner. It doesn't work like that. It's like any other family that I would speak to, that have conversations when there is a purpose for it. I have a conversation when there is a story to it. So that is the best way to bring that topic up and discuss. My kids are also supportive, So when my son joined college and I asked him, I said, are you okay telling everyone that your mother is doing sex education? And he looked at me and was like, yeah, so? And I was like, yay! I've won my job.
Awesome.
As a mother, I've got my medal, and as an educator. And my daughter is absolutely like, yeah, so what? I mean, you're doing so good for other parents and kids. And that's where I was like, it's not just the adults, but how supportive even my kids are. So if Ishan had come and told me that, Mama, I am embarrassed, or I don't think I can do this, I would have had to work around that, Not that I would have changed my career, but worked around him and getting him comfortable. It was so easy. So even my kids are into it, supporting me. So blessed, totally blessed. My angels are all around.
Wonderful. There would have been some in low phases in your life wherein you would have thought that why am I even doing this?
Many times.
Many times. And I have 3 questions and this one question. What was your mindset at that point of time? And
Okay.
what was the journey which you took to get over it, and what is the mindset right now?
Okay. So my challenges were more about the business part of it and a few things that were going on in my personal life as well, wherein I had never worked from the point of view of getting financially free. It was, or independent, I would say. It was always a interdependency between me and my husband, where he was earning and I was doing everything else. And somewhere along the way, there came a point in time where I realized that I need to be financially independent. The support is there, the system is there, the home is in place, everything is fabulous. But I needed to be financially independent. Not that he would say no for money, but somewhere because of the extended family, the insecurity had started creeping in. Even though Nilesh would constantly tell me that Niyati, everything is yours, somewhere because of some incidences that happened in the extended family and the way they treated me and spoke certain things to me, I was not confident about it. I was not confident. I was scared and I was insecure that anytime all this will be snatched away from me. With that insecurity, I kind of like started another journey along with the education and empowerment I had to make it my career. So the mission also became my business. And I knew there was market for it, but I was undereducated for that time. So I did not know how to be the best trainer to speak up on a topic which is so taboo. People are already hesitant. So if I'm on the stage and if I can't make it humorous or interactive, people are not, they cannot take in so much information at one time. Right. So there were these small challenges that I had where the insecurity was in place. So with that insecurity, I had a very low phase of about 7-8 years for that matter, where constantly I was struggling to make that kind of money that I wanted to make. And I knew I was good. I knew my content, but I was not completely skilled. I did not have the business sense that I probably could have strategized it. Nor did I have that kind of money that I could have just invested into having a coach with me and made, sped my journey a little faster. So I struggled with learning all different types, like learning to become a trainer, learning to talk about sex and sexuality on an open platform and not look indecent about it. My own personal journey. So with the low phase, with the insecurity, with all the whatever fights were happening in the house, I also was on a journey where I was going within to remain peaceful and happy. So so there was a lot going on in those 6-7 years. So not only as a mission, with money, with my own self. So that's where I discovered what self-love actually means. So everybody's like, I love myself. I know I'm pretty. That's not self-love. You have to know where to draw the line, where people are disrespecting you. It may not be with words. It may be with action. Where are you standing up for yourself? Where you politely are expressing and drawing lines that people should not cross. So it could be your children too. So there was a lot going on at that time, and there were literally those evenings where I would cry my heart out that why am I doing this? I would rather just go sell clothes and jewelry which women want and are ready to spend money on. That would have probably given me more money. But my heart was not there, my heart was not to go and sell that. My heart was in this. And I could not think of anything other than this topic and just thinking of how families can be broken with such little things. So I educated myself and I did all kinds of different workshops. A lot of them I've shared with you, which, commonly we have done together, whether it was business, whether it was money, whether it was training, whether it was sex education, whether it was different modalities of therapy. I've done so much for each of this chaos. To be a better educator, to be a better trainer, to have the finances, to break all my hesitations and blockages. So much was going on. So that was my mindset, insecurity. During the courses, after each course, I found an answer to something that was on the top of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was insecurity at that point in time, I found my answer to relax myself, or I found my answer what actually the root causes were, how my childhood was. So there were so many things that started coming up. So as and how I started educating myself for myself, I realized I was a better person to what I was 3 days back, 5 days back. So it got me hooked into wanting to rise myself to the higher level. I didn't want to stay where I was. I didn't want to feel that way anymore. I wanted to feel powerful. I wanted to feel empowered. I wanted to feel happy.
Beautiful.
My mantra is be happy no matter what. No matter what. And it will reflect. It will reflect in everything I do because it's woven inside now. So the mindset during these phase was I would cry my heart out at night. In the morning, I would get up by 6 o'clock, get my kids to school by 7:20, and I'm back to work. Okay, what do I have to do today? Just because my heart was in it. There was nothing I could think of, nothing that I wanted to think of. And each time I would look for something that would take me higher. So I was on this personal mission of rising myself.
Wonderful.
And now, yes, I am on my way to achieving the number, the money that I want to. I am almost there. There is no stopping to it. My fears are all, broken. Like I've had amazing mentors who've done brilliant job in breaking all my hesitations and my fears and my blockages. 3 days programs, but oh my God. So I'll just take a minute to mention those 2 programs which have changed my life completely.
Please do, please.
One is Landmark. All 3 levels I've done, and I'm on to my 4th. And one is Success Gyan as a company and all the programs they are doing. These have genuinely changed the way I saw things and how I felt. And now to be that powerful self where I can, all the gates have just like open. I can't see any obstacle anymore. I can see me. I can see my mission. I can see my mission right there, right in front of my eyes. And everything that comes, it's just for me to sweep it away smoothly, So
beautiful.
That's my mindset today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So if I have to pick what I have learned from the conversation which we had is one is love for yourself. Have a want and don't stop. Do some action. Like you said, you used to cry in the night and do some action. Do some action. Even it's a small most of the step. Right. Do that. And consistently learning. Don't stop learning. And always be happy. Absolutely. Wonderful. Now, again, I'm drilling a little down to this, wherein when you say, what I understand that you had that want to do things, but there are people who even I had that. I used to do that once, wherein I had that want, but in the morning I used to get up and see that, "Arey yaar, mere liye kuch karne ke liye nahi, what do I do?" And I used to be in the same phase. So how do you manage to, cry the entire night, get up in the morning and do that? What pushed you?
Only one. Yeah. So there would be this one thought that I would have early in the morning is like, you can stop and the world is not going to change anyways. It is where it is. Everybody is going to live. No, it's not like you are irreplaceable. Somebody else will come and do the job and it is going to happen. But then what are you doing? And another thing, because I had that confidence in me that I am doing well, I am teaching well, I am a good educator, I wanted to take that to the world. And I knew there was probably some more parents who will get a little more education with one more educator in the society. So there's enough work for all of us. So that thought of one more child having a better future for himself or herself. What if,
Beautiful.
Niyati, you could change one more child's life
Mhm.
where he or she will not have trouble understanding about her or his own sexuality? There won't be a teenager who's crying and trying to tell her or his parents that I am not who you think I am. Or how about one more parent explaining to a child about safe and unsafe touch, and that child is saved from
Hmm.
a big disaster happening. So these small thought of maybe one more child, just go out, do your
Beautiful.
job, maybe one more child, and I would just get up. There's no
Beautiful,
looking back.
beautiful, beautiful. So it's coming from a point of giving, right? Making that
Yeah.
smallest of the difference. People tend to see the world and say that I want to change the, climate, impact the environment. I don't need to do, and they don't even take the smallest of the step. So what I've gauged from you is that one child, if I can impact that life of one child with that one parent, so
Yeah.
smallest of that step.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
This is something very interestingly I teach my children also. Like, when they think about an exam, they're like, oh, exams are coming. You know how society is. So whatever little we do at home, something is always collected from the society and comes back home.
Right.
Oh, there's exam. Oh, there's exam. I said, listen, exam is like a mountain, So yes, you see the mountain from the footsteps from the earth, like from the ground, and you will be like, oh, that's such a big mountain. But you know what? Just look at the top and start taking your baby steps. So you will know what way to go, but you have to look where you are and take the next step. So those baby steps will help you reach up on the top. And that's what I believe so much, that even I get very overwhelmed, like 10 lakh bachcho ko kab jaake, when will I empower 10 lakh kids? But I'm like, one more kid tomorrow, I don't know, maybe there'll be 100 sitting there for me. So one more parent, one more teacher, so take those baby steps, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I could see that it is coming from a pure heart of helping. And thank you for doing this, Niyati.
Pleasure.
All right. So now again, coming to the topic. Now, people face self-worth issues. People face self-judgment. Have you ever judged yourself and say that, okay, have you gone through that self-judgment and self-worth issues?
Absolutely.
Looking at you now, we don't feel that.
No. So I did actually. I did not even understand the term, what is self-worth and what is self-esteem. It was never taught to us officially, I would say, whether it was school or parents. But I then started slowly realizing of how my parents contributed to the self-esteem part of it. But at the same point, so my confidence was in place. But when it came to self-worth, sometimes most of us were conditioned from the childhood by the society, I will say. Okay, I'll never ever point out to my parents alone that it was their job. It's a society's job to raise a child. So a lot happened in the society where it has conditioned, especially a girl, where she was told that your journey is from school to college to in-laws, and that's the journey I saw for myself. And I got married within 3 years, 4 years of my graduation. Fortunately, my dad did absorb me in with his business, and I did a little bit of work where I got exposure to outside world. But at the end of the day, the story was to get married, basically, and then be a part of their family. So the entire focus was I have to mingle like sugar in this milk. Now they are a complete family. I am the outsider, so I have to mingle in. That's upon me to do that. In that process, to impress everybody and to make everybody happy, I forgot I'm supposed to take care of myself. I forgot that yes, you are voicing certain things that you're not okay about, but then you're letting it happen anyways. So I realized that I was only talking.
Beautiful.
And I was not taking action. My thoughts were different, my words were different, and my action was different. It was not aligned. My thought was, why would you treat me like that? My words would be like begging, please don't treat me like that. And my action would be, I'm still doing what they wanted me to do. So this disconnect, yeah, it sounds funny to me also today, but at that point, I didn't know, dude. I didn't know where to go. I was like that crazy ball thrown in the room, where there are walls, and I was just going from one place to another, not knowing what my direction is, not knowing what am I supposed to do, not having any kind of answers or solutions. I only wished that they would understand and my life would become easy. I didn't realize that I was only giving them the space to be who they wanted to be. And I was not limiting, or I was not telling them, I'm not going to take it. I won't take it that you talk to me like that. I will not take it that you harass me in every little thing. I'm not going to do it. I respect my in-laws big time today, Sharad. Maybe at that time I used to hate them. But trust me, if they were not who they are, and if everybody was not who they were in that family, I would have not been here. Absolutely. I freaking would have not been here. I would have not known the value of the esteem and the worth that we're talking about today. So all due respect to whatever happened then, it was a learning lesson for me for today. But at that point in time, it was, I've suffered depression twice in my life.
Oh.
And this depression was rock bottom depression.
Oh.
Rock bottom to the extent where, the world doesn't know this, but rock bottom to the extent where I would think of leaving my home, leaving my kids away. There was a suicidal thought. I was that rock bottom.
Seriously?
Just because I could not see a way out. And I allowed my feelings to drown me into the thoughts I had. And I just wouldn't see a way out. But I think this thought of reaching out to a parent and to one more family so that they can create the bond, now that I am here and I have learned so much, I genuinely see the reasons to be so petty. But at that point in time, it was taking me to the rock bottom of an ocean. I was dying. Literally, I was dying. And so two things kept me up. One was my mission to reach out to families so that they don't go through what I have gone through. And second, knowing the relationship I have with my children. So my children were that hope and that ray for whom I wanted to be alive. I wanted to live for them. I wanted to be happy for them so that I don't pass on my sorrows to them. I don't want them to see me crying. That I think kind of like made a habit that, okay, in the morning, it's just going to be happy time. So even if Nilesh would ask me a question like, "Acha, bill bhare kya?" I was like, don't ask me questions in the morning. Don't talk about work to me in the morning. जो भी देखो list खत्म करना है ना, रात को पूछ ले. सुबह दिमाग नहीं चटने, दिमाग खराब नहीं कर देगा. So don't ask me these questions in the morning. I want to be so happy so that my day goes well. My children see me happy in the morning.
Beautiful.
So he, of course, supported and he stopped asking me or reminding me. It was not that he was trying to ask me or control me, but remind me and I am a person who needs reminders. So he would do that. Raat ko pooch le baba, subah nahi. So all these little changes that I made for myself, which I learned throughout this journey. And today, it is so easy for me to recognize what I want, what I don't want, what's pulling me down, what's driving me out, and immediately shift from that phase. Immediately shift. So my phase has been and I think the biggest mistake I made is I did not talk about it to anybody. I did not reach out to anybody. And if ever I reached out, it was back in the house where nobody was listening to me anyway. लड़कियों को जैसे बोला जाता है ना कि ससुराल की बातें mom dad के घर पे नहीं लेके जाते. So don't talk about your in-laws to your parents. Their respect kind of goes down and your parents will worry what you're going through. I think all that is super bullshit. Super bullshit. You should go and talk to your parents. They are way stronger than we think they are. And whether it's a man or a woman, just go talk to your parents, dude. I mean, we all need that support, and there cannot be anybody better than them. So today, like literally, I know I'm making this long, but every word is so worth it. Last night I got cramps. I got my menstrual cramps. After like almost 19 years, I got those heavy cramps where I was crying out of pain at 1:45 in the night.
Oh.
My mom's in Chandigarh. I called up. I said, I know you're sleeping, but I need to talk to you. I have pain. And she's like, okay, breathe, do this, do that, ye laga, wo laga, tablet le le, ye mat karna, wo. And I felt so happy. I was like, Mom, ab main sone ja rahi hu. And she's like, हाँ सोच जा, मैं तेरे को कल सुबह जल्दी फोन नहीं करूँगी. I'll call you up a little later because you might be sleeping. That's all you need.
Beautiful.
And one person speaking to you for 2 minutes and saying that I care for you. That's all. It disappeared. It just disappeared. So they are way stronger than we think they are. So yeah, talk it out and be there. I don't want to go back to that place again. Oh, dude.
Beautiful, beautiful. I really respect you for talking all these things because, you know, many of the people who are listening to this right now, they wanted this. Because people don't talk about this vulnerabilities, because don't talk about this, you know, personal issues which they have. And just because of that and not reaching out to their loved ones, they suffer a lot.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. I believe at least. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's the first time I have gone on a open platform and discussed all this. And I know it's been pending for a long time. And Sharad, you've been that a channel through which I'm reaching out to a lot of people. And I wanted to do that for a long time. So thank you so much for giving me this space and letting me be the vulnerable self. It's not an easy job done, you know. It takes a lot of safe environment and trust, and I totally trust you on that. So
thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. And you know, my mission accomplished with your interview in this, because the purpose of this interview or our mission by Untold Stories is this: bringing out the vulnerable side of people and show people that everyone goes through the same things. It's not that successful people don't go through, or people who are doing things don't go through. Everyone has their own shit to go, tackle and, clear off. So we are also the same thing. We also go through the same things. So it's a process.
It's a process. And it's an ongoing process. There's always something different, always something new waiting for you just at the corner where you think I've reached my destination.
Absolutely. Like Blair said.
The mountain top. Yeah, you reach the mountain top and then you see a bigger mountain, like a snowy mountain maybe. And you're like, no, I want to go there.
Absolutely. Like Blair says, is your problem big or you big?
Exactly.
It's how you see the problem. Yeah. But probably when you are in that problem, you don't see that you yourself are big. But when you're out of the problem, then you understand that you have grown so much that you're out of that problem. And now let's see what other problem comes. Let's see.
Yeah. So I think when you rise yourself up and when you're sitting at a higher self, you see the basic problems everybody is going through, but by then you know what can be done to reach where you are. So I think it's very important for each educator or each person to understand that there is a higher self and you need to be there, because there's somebody who's looking up to you and wants to be there, and only if you are there, you can help them come to that height or to that higher self. You cannot be sitting down crying with them and then thinking that, okay, I'm going to take you higher up. You can't do that. So you have to go through this process.
Absolutely. And I once again thank you for sharing this vulnerability of yours. So Niyati, you mentioned about being financially independent. So when you started off your journey, there was a point wherein you understand there is a need of becoming financially independent. And as a working woman without earning, and I guess you are mother of 2 children, and then starting off that journey and relationship with money, how was it?
So it was extremely tough for me. One, because I was never very career oriented. It was never about the money. It was about learning and being busy. So all my ventures before that, even though I earned my money, I never knew how to manage it or what to do with it. So it was either my dad taking care of it or it was my husband taking care of it. And it was not that big an amount also where I thought it was important for me to get into managing the money. But now that I started earning on my own and there was this need because of the insecurities I had, so even though my husband kept telling me, Niyati, you don't need to worry about it. It's our money. It's not mine or yours. It's our money. That insecurity led me to believe it's not mine, and anytime everything will be taken away from me. So for the women specifically who are dependent, especially for the finances, in their family, it could be a joint family or a nuclear family. I want to take this message out to say that yes, you may never ever go through that insecurity, or you may never feel or have a situation where you may not have money. But I think at the end of the day, being financially independent definitely gives you the esteem that one area lacks. It makes you feel that I have done something for myself, and at the same time gives you the power to give it back to the society. So the financial independence is so important, because this one area, most of us women, especially in India, don't venture into only. देखते भी नहीं है हम लोग on a bigger platform. I'm saying not that all women are doing that, but I think even if it means घर बैठ के कुछ काम करो, that financial independence of where you don't need to ask anybody, and you have that money to go and spend at the place where you want to or on things that you want to, it gives you a different esteem altogether. So
Absolutely.
To every woman out there, don't take your finances lightly. Dwell into it, just like you are taking effort into teaching your children. Teach yourself that, and it's extremely important to be financially independent and to have the financial management sense. You've got to do it.
Awesome. And a high five for that. Superb.
Yes.
So basically, okay, what you are talking about is that, self-worth and success has definitely a correlation, wherein it's a process of progression, understanding yourself, understanding your limitation, understanding what the market needs, understanding how much you can charge if you are in a business of charging or consulting or training, not just seeing someone else doing that and charging that. You should know.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you so very much, Niyati. You've been so vulnerable, so talking about your personal lives, and thank you so very much. I am 100% sure people are going to relate to this and they're going to love this conversation. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you once again for having me.